So I'm disabled and I have mild cerebral palsy or whatever it is.
Mm.
But like I'm a black belt in Taekwondo too. So I'm like, I basically don't let my disability stop me in any way.
Welcome to the One Girl Revolution podcast. It's your girl, Kate Bryan. I am so excited to be back here for another week and another inspiring story. The One Girl Revolution podcast highlights the stories of everyday women who are changing the world through their lives. Please subscribe to the One Girl Revolution podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, iHeartRadio, YouTube, or wherever you listen to podcasts. You can find us on social media, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at One Girl Revo. That's the number one girl REVO. We're on YouTube at One Girl Revolution, and you can find all of these details, more stories, more podcast episodes, and everything else on our website at onegirlrevolution.com. That's the number one girlrevolution.com. Today, we talk about how you don't have to do big things to make a difference in the world. Sometimes it's the smallest little note, letter, or card that can spread kindness and transform someone's world. Today's guest on the One Girl Revolution podcast today is Allie Bond. Allie is the founder of Kindness Through Letters, an initiative that she started to bring kindness and love to those who need it most. Allie writes letters to strangers or friends of friends. She writes to the elderly, veterans, those who are currently serving in the military, those who are incarcerated, and even celebrities. Allie has written thousands and thousands of letters, and she just keeps writing. And many of the people she writes to now write her back, so she's responding. Allie has been through a lot in her life, but as she says in this episode, she never lets anything get her down, and she's found her purpose in spreading kindness through letter writing. Allie is a reminder that we can all be beacons of light and hope in the world, and oftentimes it starts with something small. In her case, a letter, a note, or a card. You don't want to miss this great episode of the One Girl Revolution podcast. So without further ado, here's Allie. Allie, welcome to the One Girl Revolution podcast.
Hi.
I'm so excited to have you on. I'm so grateful for everything that you're doing, and I'm excited to share your story and your incredible work with everybody who's listening. But before we get into your story, I'd love to hear about a One Girl Revolution in your life. Who is a woman or girl that's inspired you?
Well, okay, so in 2015, my grandma died of a rare brain disease, and she always told me like to, be a good girl. Always remember to be a good girl. And so she like really inspired me through it to make me always remember to be good and stuff. But
well, her legacy lives on through you. Like, that's the thing. I love these stories of, other generations or other women who are inspiring women. And I'm sure that she is just, living through you every single day.
Oh yeah, totally.
So Allie, I want to hear about your story. Tell me a little bit about your background, who you are. I know you're in Arkansas, but tell me a little bit about who you are, where you're from, and just a little bit about your own life story.
Well, I was born in 96, so I'll be 25 this year. I'm disabled because obviously I was premature at birth. I was a pound 10 ounces, or 1 pound. So I'm disabled, and I have mild cerebral palsy or whatever it is. But like I'm a black belt in Taekwondo too, so I'm like, I basically don't let my disability stop me in any way. But yeah,
that's awesome. That's
much it.
That's really incredible. And even the story of you, how you were born and you were only a pound and 10 ounces, I can imagine that you're just a fighter and you've been through so much from the moment you were born. You've been a little fighter, and now you continue to fight every single day. And so it's a real inspiration. What was that like growing up? If I can ask you, what was it like growing up? I think that we all are different in a variety of different ways. And I can share stories about my own life journey. And I grew up with eczema, and I have a really rare immune deficiency. And so, and on the one hand, I feel like all of us have our own things that we deal with in our life. But can you share a little bit just about your own life journey through that?
Well, I mean, like, me being in special ed all my life, well, not all my life, but like, I think like second grade, or maybe not, maybe like fourth grade through high school. I mean, it's been quite interesting. I mean, I started having kidney stones at 16,
Wow.
and I'm like, my kidneys are still like a ticking time bomb. I can pass one at any time. but yeah, I mean, I had leg braces for a while, but it's a mild form, so it's nothing too bad. Thank goodness. But
And you're in school now. Tell me about what you're doing in school.
well, my school lifestyles teaches me how to live on my own. It's for adults, so of course there's like it started in 1945, I think. And so they've been having like interesting things. Like, people are incredible there. Like, it's a nonprofit, so they don't, have anything. They're all volunteers pretty much. But yeah, I enjoy it. It's fun. I went today and it was funny. I had a great time, but and I go back in the morning. But
What's your favorite thing that you like to do? I know a lot of times in school, people always ask, like, oh, I remember when all of us were little, it was like, oh, what's your favorite subject? But
yeah.
what's your favorite thing you like to do in school, or do you have hobbies? I know you're a black belt. I'd love to hear more about that.
Okay, well, when I was in ninth grade or whatever, I had a bunch of ex-boyfriend issues, a bunch of drama and stuff. And my mom's like, oh, we need to put her in, so she can defend herself. I haven't I mean, I've learned stuff, but I don't. I'm so tiny. I only weigh like 65 pounds right now. But yeah, I'm not really sure how to protect myself besides having a really tall boyfriend, which I do not have yet. I mean,
if he's listening, reach out to us.
Oh yeah, I'm also a local musician for, around here.
That's awesome. What do you play?
I play the cajon. It's kind of like a percussion instrument. It was like a box, easy to carry around, needs no, sound equipment or whatever. But my best buddy, he's also an inspiration to me because he actually survived, I think, a brain tumor a while ago, and he thought that he was going to die, that he wasn't able to play again, and he's actually back now playing music. So
I want to talk about this amazing project that you started, and I want to hear how you write your pen pals and writing letters. Let me start over. I want to talk about this amazing letter. Let me start over. I want to talk about this amazing letter writing campaign, pretty much, that you've started. So you have pen pals all over the world. How did this project start? How did you get this idea for writing letters to people all around the world?
I mean, it probably start with, writing soldiers, writing prisoners, encouraging them as I go. But I don't even know how the heck I included having 800 and, well, I'd say 800. Some of them are famous, so they don't write me back, of course. But yeah, like I wrote a prisoner who has a famous Netflix series the other day because he's like famous, before he ended up in there. And I was thinking it was going to take like 2 months. No, he messaged me in a week.
Wow.
It was so awkward though, because like, I seen his series on there and I'm like, I'm not going to message him, but I did. And I told my friends this morning because my teacher was showing them my news story for some reason. And I hate listening to myself because it's like embarrassing for me. I don't know why. But yeah, writing's fun. I mean, like I said before, I suffer from anxiety half the time, so writing helps me a lot.
Yeah.
Especially if I'm like mad about something, a certain guy or something, writing will help. But
That's very Taylor Swift of you. I feel like, you know, guys can be the inspiration to so many of our, you know, writing or
Oh,
creating. It's such a creative outlet.
yeah. Guys have treated me pretty bad in the past, so but they better watch it because one of my exes was treating me bad and I wrote a song about him, and it's not very good because it's of course my first song that I ever wrote, but it's on Spotify and stuff. So I'm like,
Cool.
but they have no like I keep telling everybody, I'm like, yeah, I wrote a song about my ex, but he has absolutely no idea.
Hmm.
He'll find out.
He will. He will for sure. I mean, that's how Taylor Swift does it. She doesn't tell people right off the bat. And then now all
Yeah.
the Swifties go back and they figure out, they piecemeal who is who in the songs. But I think you're onto something, that letter writing, you know, writing songs,
Yeah.
whatever, writing can just be such a
Oh yeah.
powerful outlet for people, whatever we're all going through. And I think you look back at the past year with the pandemic, all of us were
Mm-hmm.
dealing with so many anxieties and depression and so many
Yeah.
things were going on in our world that people really needed outlets. And so some people started podcasts, some people, you know, learned how to play an instrument, some people would bake, you know, everybody had these different like creative outlets that they
Yeah.
were utilizing. And you really jumped full into letter writing.
Yeah.
What made you want to write the first letter, or like when did you start? I know that it probably started small, where you were like, I'm going to write one letter to one person, and then you were like, oh, that
Yeah.
was easy, let me write to another person. What made you want to write that first letter, and who did you write it to, if you remember?
Dude, I don't even remember. Um but like I don't know. I think it was more like a, I want to try it. I want to see what'll happen. And so and somebody told me, they're like, "Hey, this is addicting." Boy, were they right.
How do you decide who you're going to write letters to? How do you get connected to those people, and how do you decide?
um yeah, Facebook, and like, of course, like my Sunday school teacher, my old one that I had, she's serving prison in Arkansas for life, and I was like, I'm just gonna write to her, see what'll happen. So I've been like this morning or yesterday because I was tired and I just couldn't sleep like always. But I wrote her and I'm gonna send her Bible verses just for the heck of it. So I did, and I sent it earlier. But yeah, I sent her Bible verses that I wrote down from my phone, which I barely remember that. But yeah, I wrote her some things yesterday and sent it earlier, and I've been brightening their day, I guess. But that's kind of like what my great aunt or ex aunt does. She bakes pies, like a bunch, like 150 pies a week or whatever, and random people that she doesn't even know, she'll just walk up to them, give them a pie without having them pay for it. Like, that's her way of spreading kindness to people.
Hmm. That's really
Yeah.
powerful, because I think we all have different things. Like I was sharing about the
Yeah.
pandemic, we all had
Yeah.
different things that we were doing, or
Hmm.
you know, there's so many different ways that you can spread kindness, and that's really what you're doing. Everybody can do what you're doing. Everybody can write a letter, and you don't even
Yeah.
have to know the person.
True. Yeah. Just to be like, oh, hey, I'm thinking of you, hope you have a great day and all that stuff. Like, I've been doing that. Like, to prisoners that I don't know, for instance, I've been doing that. And soldiers I don't know, but I feel like eventually I get to know them, which means I gotta put some pictures up. Dang it. My friend sent me pictures. He's only got 2 days left in boot camp and then he's out. But for some reason he promised that he would call me. So I don't know why, but yeah, he's kind of my good buddy. I told him I had an interview today actually, and for this, and he thought that he was like, "Good luck," and I'm like, "Okay," but
That's so awesome. And it just shows the power of a letter, and just letting people
oh yeah,
know that they're being thought about. And no matter what's going on, I know a lot of people that are serving our country, you know, people that are serving time in prison. These are the forgotten about people, the forgotten about populations. And I know that we all feel those moments too, right, Allie? Like we all have moments in our own lives where we might feel forgotten about, or nobody cares about me, or
Yeah.
nobody, your friends don't call you or text you. And
Yeah.
so we all have these moments, but that's such a human experience, that all of
Hmm.
us deal with at different moments. And what you're doing by writing a letter just to say, hey, I'm thinking about you, I'm praying for
Yeah.
you, whatever people want to write. You don't have to even like write anything significant. It doesn't have to be a 4-page letter. It can just be a small little, hey, I'm thinking about you.
Yeah.
The power that has.
Yeah. It's great. Like, I don't know. It's just okay. So my old special ed teacher that I had in elementary school, she passed away last week, and it was kind of hard because I was close to her, but I hadn't seen her since like ever.
If you had to get to the root, Allie, if you were like digging down into your heart, I know you mentioned like anxiety and other things that you've dealt with. If you had to get to the root of why you do what you do, why you write these letters, what would that be?
Basically, like making people smile, because I know in the world today it can be a little bit complicated at times, and most of the time, and it's just good to like. I love surprising people. I love not telling them I'm gonna send it, and then I send it.
Hmm. There's so many people. There's an awesome girl from Arkansas, Ruby Kate, who started 3 Wishes for Ruby's Residence. And I remember talking to her throughout the pandemic, and she was saying how so many senior citizens are just forgotten about. They don't have people
Yeah.
visiting them. And, we
Yeah.
all have had moments throughout the pandemic where, we didn't see family members or friends or anything. And so letters were a great way that people could spread kindness, exactly what you're doing.
Yeah.
So I can't wait to see where it goes from here. And you're just so incredible. What can people do to get involved in what you're doing? If there's a way that people can get involved in what you're doing, and or what can they do in their own communities from their own home, wherever they are? What would you say to them?
Definitely, like, writing to soldiers and stuff, that inspires them. Like, they need it because the pandemic and stuff, they're dealing with a lot, and they don't get to see their families for quite a while with that going on. So that's my inspiration.
Yeah.
Definitely. Yeah.
They can join, they can join your revolution. They can join the One Girl
Yeah.
Revolution that you've started, Allie, by writing letters to strangers, even just family members. Like you said, it's like there's so many people that just want to be thought about. We all want to be seen and heard and known. And so we can be known through letter writing. And I feel like that's a lost art. That's what I love so much about the work that you're doing. We all feel like, oh, I can text somebody, I can go on social media and message them, but there's something so powerful about actually writing a letter.
Especially when you don't have a print, or when you don't have a computer like I do, and you do everything by hand, which I have horrible writing anyway. So I'm trying to like work. That's another thing. Good practice for my handwriting. My aunt's really happy, really proud of me for doing that. So
Allie, I'm just so curious on like a personal level, is there a motto or advice that you've gotten in your life that really you kind of carry with you? I think some people get things tattooed on their arms, some sort of like motto that they live by every single day. Is there something that you live by every single day?
I have no idea. I mean, with church and stuff, I guess I'm like spreading God's love or something, because obviously they need it in this world. But yeah, I don't know, like, I guess I live for spreading kindness, which I never knew I would, but like, I don't know. I guess it's kind of living with God's plan, because, spreading kindness and stuff, like, in the world where we definitely need that. But
I think that sometimes we look at our lives and we're like, why am I here? Why does this matter? Or especially if you're dealing with all the things that we deal with on a daily basis, we lose sight of our purpose and our value. And I just think it's so powerful what you're doing. You've just embraced your mission in life, and this is only part of your mission. I know you're a multifaceted, like all of us, we're multifaceted people. And so there are a lot of facets to who we are, but I just think it's so incredible that you've embraced this. Allie, before I let you go, I always end this podcast on one question. So I want to ask you, if you could leave women and girls around the world with one message, what would it be?
Write letters as much as you can. I don't know. Or like, you know, do simple things like you said, baking or anything. Like, people need it. Even if you like text them and wish them, you know, hey, yeah, like tell them you're thinking of them, or hang out with somebody like who needs it, or help somebody who needs it. Like, I just live for that. So
Spread kindness. I think it's so simple that there are so many different ways that we can spread kindness every single day, and we are the answer to what the world needs. When you were talking about the darkness and how much hate and everything else that's in the world, we are the answer, and our simple acts of kindness, writing letters, all those different ways can make such a huge impact.
totally.
Allie, thank you so much for joining the One Girl Revolution podcast, and thank you for all the great work that you do.
Please follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at One Girl Revo. That's the number one girl REVO. And you can find more information on One Girl Revolution at onegirlrevolution.com. That's the number one girlrevolution.com.